As usual, I'm going live without any warning. It's kind of my usual way of doing this. So I'm just gonna hang out for a second, wait for some of you to show up. But I got an hour to kill before I got to go out. I got a lot of things to do today. So the family and I are going to be busy bees, especially tonight. So we got a big church thing going on. It's going to go until 11:30 tonight. So not looking forward to it really. It should be good. We're going to be accomplishing a lot of stuff with our family at our church tonight, and it's been a long process getting to this point. So this is kind of the grand finale of it all, but won't go too much into that. But I have an hour to kill, but my in-laws are, or not my in-laws, my family, my parents are in town visiting, so my kids are with them. The wife's out shopping, getting ready for tonight. So I figured, hey, I got some time by myself, so thought I would share it with you guys. So go ahead and come into the chat. We'll see what you guys are doing. Troy Buckman, hi from Kentucky. Ryan Miles, hi, glad to catch a live stream. Danny Lynch, hello from Tennessee. NorCal Chris, afternoon all. Right on, welcome guys. That was quick. You guys are, I guess you were already on YouTube, so I guess you guys have your Idaho Prepper notification turned on. So that's good. All right, it didn't take me too long to get this live stream going. It was just maybe 15 minutes. Had to keep redoing it. I don't think YouTube is allowing the other orientation. You know, now we have to have our phones vertical. We can't have the horizontal camera orientation anymore. So I got to do live streams like this. We'll see if this makes it easier. It's nice because the chat's popping up, so I can see the chat a lot better this time. That's nice. Usually I have to get my laptop going. I have to read the chat, but now I can see the chat. Unfortunately, I can't see how many people are in because my light in the background. Let me see if I can. There we go. All right, 19 people. Right on. Well, welcome everyone. I don't have anything too exciting to report. It's just some gear here, and there's some supplies. One in particular that's been coming on my radar. I've been getting a lot of emails about this piece of gear kind of becoming almost extinct, and that is these Jace Medical antibiotic kits. So because of the tariffs and everything that's going on, unfortunately, our country has put us in a bad predicament with our medication, where all of our most important medical medications are being made in China. So these may be very difficult to come by. And then, as you know, the rest of the tariffs are kind of increasing the costs of everything else. But, the one thing that's kind of on my radar that has me concerned the most, that almost no one is talking about, is what might happen if we go into, if this conflict with Iran heats up and we attack Iran, which is a high plausibility at this point, if not inevitable. That's one thing that nobody seems to be talking about, but that would be an immediate disaster on oil prices, and you would see oil prices skyrocket. Now, you guys know me. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, like, I don't do the fear thing. Like, the only time I'll ever touch on something is if I think it's like a pretty serious thing. And it's unfortunate there's so many channels that come out and try to make every little news thing like a big sky is falling episode, because it's kind of like a never cry wolf thing, where every time something comes up, they try to over sensationalize it and make it seem like this is it. And what ends up happening is people just tune out, and then when something really bad does happen, people miss it because they're just not they're not listening. So I'm going to try my best to like really not bring up anything that I don't think is of grave concern, but that is one thing that I think is a pretty big concern, and especially the fact that nobody's really talking about it, maybe because it's so controversial. But um yeah, if this war kicks off in the Middle East, we with this conflict starts and we attack Iran, it's going to be a nightmare. I mean, for all sorts of reasons, but one of the first things we're probably going to see from an economic standpoint is oil prices will just go through the roof, and then you're going to see a lot of supply chain issues because of that as well. So you guys can look into it, verify it if you'd like, see how serious it is. But from my sources, it looks like a pretty serious thing that's on the horizon. So it's actually kind of inspired me to get to start working on the video that I'm working on now, which is I'm actually doing a like a review of an e-bike. And normally I wouldn't take on an e-bike. The company reached out. It was a really cool e-bike. It was kind of specialized for hunting. So it's kind of like a mountain e-bike, but it's all-wheel drive. There's like a motor on the back and the front wheel. And this thing came to me like 2 weeks ago, and it's like I haven't been able to get off of this bike, and I've just been taken up in the mountains and just getting it filthy. But it's so much fun to ride. But I really took that product on because I started thinking about it from like a preparedness standpoint. It really makes sense to have a means of transportation that is not dependent on gasoline, and like a decent means of transportation. Like it's like a pretty reliable, effective means of transportation. An e-bike, for those of you who've never ridden one, is actually my first time riding one. But I mean, they're quick. And I thought like the battery was going to run out. I was thinking like, how long could a battery last on one of these things? But I mean, I can go all day, just full throttle, and maybe use up half the battery. So it really far exceeded my expectations. But my main thing when I first got it, I was like, well, if this thing, can get me from my house to the store, get some groceries, and come back, like it will pass, it'll pass um, my needs. And it went way beyond that. So it's pretty cool. So keep an eye out for that video. Hopefully I'll get it done. It's kind of a really involved video because I'm doing all these different, kind of taking on all these different angles with that e-bike. Where one, yeah, I kind of want to, show everyone how it can be a hunting bike. I mean, definitely it's cool as a hunting bike because it allows you, one, to get into like areas that you normally can't with like an ATV. A lot of the hunting areas around here, like our public lands, are gated off, and they only allow like you can only access them by foot, bicycle, or horse. So no more ATVs. They like shut down the ATVs, which is kind of lame. A lot of the old guys are happy about that, but it's kind of annoying. But the e-bike, really kind of is like a loophole into that. So for those of you who know, like anything, especially like elk hunting, like you got to go pretty far into the backcountry. And if you take an elk and you're 5-6 miles from home, like that's a lot of meat to pack out. I mean, and having to do that by foot, especially when, you're an old guy, you got bad knees and stuff. It's nice to have some type of motorized vehicle that can help you with that. So that's kind of where this e-bike comes in. And anyways, it's really cool. But really, I was thinking about this bike from the standpoint of, for those of maybe who are like on a fixed income, or you're just trying to bring your overhead down. Having this bike is like the perfect, it's just like the perfect solution for people who are trying to lower their overhead, and maybe their car payment. Because like for most Americans, it's kind of like the two most expensive things in our budget is mortgage and rent, being the first one, and then your vehicle. You have, if you're financing your vehicle, you have the car payment, which is, anywhere between, I don't know, $300 to $1,000 a month. And then you have your gas payment, right? And if you're commuting, that can be crazy, especially as the gas prices go up. Then you have your insurance, and the newer the car you have, the higher your insurance rate is going to be. And then you have your registration. So after everything's said and done, I mean, you're upwards of almost, like, the average person is paying almost upwards of like $2,000 a month just for their transportation. So if you have the ability to just eliminate that, like just scratch it off, that is just like an insane amount of money to not have to spend and save, put away, and start putting it towards, getting debt free or saving up and buying some bug out land, because that's kind of like where, to me, and for those of you guys who are familiar with my channel, you know that, like, kind of the nucleus of my view on preparedness is being financially sound first, because you don't want to create like your preparedness plan on something that has the potential of like a bank or somebody coming in and taking it from you. So if you have the ability to get that stuff paid off, especially your home, or your vehicle, the better, because you don't want to be in a situation where there's a financial collapse and those things get taken away. And a lot of people say, well, I'd never let it happen. It would happen, because it has happened. We've already had a housing crash, and the bank came in and took everybody's house. There were some stall outs and some people resisted for a little while, but eventually they lost their house and they ended up homeless, including yours truly. So we don't want to end up there. So yeah, but for maybe those of you who maybe don't want to own a home, you don't own a piece of property, but you want your preparedness plan to be sound. You don't want to be in a situation where if all hell breaks loose, you're going to lose your home and your means of transportation. Um, I was thinking, you put a little capital up front and you could get like an RV, like a motorhome. And the reason why I say get a motorhome as opposed to like a trailer is because the motorhomes you can park on the street for a period of time, whereas like a trailer, you can't just unhook a trailer and leave it. Those things, it'll get tagged immediately. So depends on the laws in your city or whatever, but for the most part, I mean, that's pretty much how I understand it to be. If you're in a motorhome, you can park it, or it is, so if you do have a trailer, you just have to make sure that your vehicle, whatever you're towing it with, is always attached to the trailer. So I don't know, if it were me and I was, obviously if I was single, or worst case scenario, and then my whole family pile into a camper or something, God forbid. But if I was single, I was trying to do it all over again. That's probably the kind of setup I would have had if I didn't have the the storage unit that I had. So those of you might, maybe for those of you who heard my story into preparedness, that's kind of where I started out. Was I lived in a storage unit for a few years and saved up money and paid off debt, and then bought my bug out property, so to speak. And that's how I did it. But even when I was doing that, I remember my transportation. It was like I still had a truck at the time, and it was relatively new. It was probably like 5, 6 years old. But the gas prices back then, this is like in 2010, something like that, they were pretty high. A lot of people forget that. Like when the housing crisis was happening, gas prices were also really high. At least in California, they were like $5 a gallon. And I remember, because I was commuting a lot, and I was spending $1,000 a month on gas commuting back and forth from my job. So it was hard to make it. So, anyways, the e-bike, I could see, especially for people who have like a service job, like you're in the service industry, maybe not in the trades like me, and you have to carry tools, but you just have like a service job you got to go to. Definitely I would be taking an e-bike and just completely deducting all of that vehicle expense. But the reason why I really wanted to stress that was because if we do enter into a situation where gas prices, I mean, just go through the roof, which is a probability, I mean, get really expensive and the economy tanks, you were going to have to start thinking about alternative means of transportation that don't involve fuel. And that's always been something kind of on the back of my mind, because for the most part, I have most of the fields of my preparedness plan covered. I got, I'm in a good living situation. I got plenty of food. I got, lots of water, all that stuff. I'm pretty good in all those areas. But my one kind of Achilles heel in my preparedness plan is like a sound means of transportation during a situation where we might not have access to fuel. So, something to consider. Take a sip of my coffee here. My last sip. But anyways, I really do these live streams to kind of check in with you guys and see what you're doing. I can tell that there were a lot of chats going on when I was yapping here, so I'm not going to try to catch up on. There's too many. But anyways, welcome to everybody who has joined the chat here. Troy Buchanan. I always try to, some of these names I don't even know if I am allowed to pronounce. Chum Nasty, Rogelio, Ramirez. That just rolls off the tongue. Troy Buchanan. Oh, there. Lone Wolf, Little Red Hen. Troy, you keep showing up. Nate, just trying to find the new ones. South Florida. Well, what's up, you guys? There's Airsoft Guy. Airsoft Guy, I think you keep emailing me. I don't know if I've responded to your emails. I think I have for the most part. Let's see if you're asking me a question there. He's the best. Are you talking about me? I'm just going to assume you're talking about me. Noel, Jamie Carter, Jaime Carter? I don't know. King Penny. Right on, you guys. Well, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Jeremy Kirby. Yeah, we've got rain here. That's the other reason I'm inside. I had video to shoot, but people don't realize it's like you're trying to make a video and something happens. I actually screwed up and I accidentally deleted footage from a video. And so I'm like, what happens? It's like you're shooting a video. I'll just give you a little insight here. Why some of these videos take a while. It's just like a lot goes into it. By the time they end up on YouTube, you never see what happens. But right now, I'm trying to complete, this footage. And, I can spend a whole day and maybe put together, a whole day of shooting video. And after everything's said and done, it's like 3 minutes of footage at the most. And then the worst is when I missed something that I needed and the day's over and I'm like, I got to go back out. It's dark now. I can't shoot it anymore. And then the next day it's raining, like the weather's changed. So it's like, I can't just go, now I have to wait for the weather to clear. Otherwise it's just going to be weird. Like all of a sudden, the video, it's like me riding my bike and it's all sunny. And then all of a sudden the next scene, it's dark gray and raining. It'll just kind of look stupid. And then I got to wear the same clothes. So a lot of times, I'll be wearing the same clothes over and over again. So it looks normal. Wow, NorCal Chris, thank you for the super chat there for $9.99. That's awesome. I think that's the third super chat I've received in my entire YouTube career in 3 years. So I appreciate it. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, things are actually I'm grateful to have YouTube. It's definitely slowed down quite a bit. The audience, retention, everything's been slowing down. It's because, in all honesty, I'd just be honest, I think it's because like Trump got into office and everybody just was like, everything's good now. We don't have anything to worry about. No need to be concerned. But like that's like if you know anything, if you're a true prepper, like this is actually the time to be preparing. You don't prepare when things start getting sideways and squirrely and everybody's prepping. You want to be you want to be really escalating your preparedness more so now while things are readily available and still relatively affordable. So, Main Girl Outdoors, welcome. Jeremy Kirby, I think I already said your name. What do you suggest for an 50 something single prepper? What do you suggest for a 5 foot prepper? A 5 foot single prepper? A 50-year-old prepper? Is that what you're saying? I guess that's what you're saying. What do I suggest for a 50-year-old single prepper? Well, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, if I was single, it was just me. It'd be a lot easier in a lot of ways. Be tougher in some ways, but easier in others. Probably be a lot less stressful because you don't have any buddy depending on you, and it makes it a little easier. But also, then you're kind of single. It kind of puts you in a vulnerable spot because you don't have anybody there helping you. But yeah, I mean, if I was single, like I said, I'd just be in like I'd have some bug out land with the necessities there, and then I'd probably just still be working. I'd probably have like an RV or something that I could move around in, something that was mobile. I would try to be as mobile as possible. I think definitely having the ability to kind of almost have like a living situation that's mobile is pretty. Like I could see that as like being pretty valuable. So probably something like that. But I have family members that are kind of in that situation. I'm always telling them like, man, like especially if you're in the trades, I just have that's the situation. I'd have like a piece of land somewhere that I could go, like a home base, and just kind of keep stuff there. And then I would have like a small RV, like a Tioga. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen those Tiogas. They're kind of like small, like mid-size RVs, probably like I don't know, 16, 7, maybe like 20 feet long at the most, but they're they're totally complete. You got like a little shower, bathroom, kitchen, a couple beds in there. They're nice. And I'd maybe be pulling a small enclosed trailer with all my tools, and then I'd have like my e-bike, and then you just be working and you just save so much money. And I would just be kind of doing that. I'd be focused on just putting money aside, uh investing whatever I could in like precious metals, whatever. And yeah, that's probably what I'd be doing, you know making money, but paying the least amount to the IRS as possible. Doing a lot of cash jobs. Airsoft guy says, what do you suggest for food prepping? Like just getting started. Is my the basics, like your essential, your staples. So just beans, rice, flour. Although I wouldn't suggest starting putting flour together. You got to learn some basic red bread recipes. You're gonna save a lot of money making bread, let me tell you. Also, so learn how to make bread, and then putting flour aside and putting it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. It lasts forever. I have flour up here from 2011 that we still use, and it's perfectly fine. I have same thing with rice. The rice lasts, I wouldn't say indefinitely, but I've eaten rice that's 10 years old. It's perfectly fine. And the oatmeal, same with the oatmeal. I saved a lot of oats. So that was kind of the stuff when I started out. I started putting, I got the 5 gallon bags, the Mylar bags, and put it in there inside the 5 gallon buckets. It was a lot easier that way. And then I used the 3000 cc oxygen absorbers. A lot easier to pack the food that way. But once I got a family, the family started growing. We're cycling through this stuff a lot faster. And so I kind of got away from the 5 gallon buckets just because they were kind of inconvenient. And I started, I should say, the 5 gallon bags, and got into the gallon size bags and just I work out of those. It's just more convenient, but it's harder to do it that way because, instead of just putting everything in one bag, you're compartmentalizing it all out into about 6 or 7 bags for every 20-pound sack. But I still have a 20-pound sack of rice here that I have to seal up and store. But I haven't been eating as much rice lately. The whole we haven't been eating as much rice lately. Kind of just trying to all be on like low carb diets for the most part. So I've been eating a lot of rice. Let's see here. Mark, no wife, happy life. I thought that was my Uncle Mark, because that's something my Uncle Mark would say. Watch, he's gonna chime in now. Um, yep. Dogs are great. Yeah, dogs can be great. We have a little dog. I would like to have a big dog. There's advantages like to them. It'd be nice to have a big dog, especially when our kids are outside playing. I was just telling my wife this the other day. It'd be nice if we had a sheepdog, because a lot of times, like, all of our kids will be outside playing, and I know we have a huge mountain lion, like a mile or half mile down the road, because our friends that own property down the road have sent pictures from their trail cam of this lion. It's huge. So a little concerned about that we do have the mountain lions here, but there's so many people starting to move in now. I'm kind of not as concerned because the people kind of push the lions away. But we do have coyotes, and our youngest child, it would be susceptible. I could see a coyote trying to take out our youngest. So I would feel safer if we had a big dog that was outside with them, watching them during the day. But speaking of wives, let me know if that ring came through in the live chat. Sorry, the chats are kind of coming through faster. I can keep up with them. Silver is really attractive right now. Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm glad I got into silver when I did. I bought it when it was $13 an ounce. So, not too bad. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just reading through the chats here, trying to find kind of a question. Mm-mm. But I was going to say something. Kind of slipped in my mind. Anyways, I'll show you guys some survival gear, since that was kind of what the show is going to be about. Because a lot of this stuff, I mean, I have seen an increase in price a little bit, but mostly it's kind of just been hard to find, because I think a lot of the tariffs were it was kind of just when Trump was talking about the tariffs, it was more, he was just kind of blowing smoke up people's, what's. And, he'd say he was going to do it and then he'd kind of walk it back. And so it's hard to kind of get a definitive answer on that. I was like kind of doing the research before I started the show, and I was like, I don't even trust, you look up like what's going on, and I follow politics enough to know like there's certain things that you just have to really, like, if you're going to talk about them, you got to really be studying them. I mean, one, you got to really know the backstory. It's just these subjects are so convoluted. You got to know all the players, and you got to really be following it, because there's so much rhetoric surrounding so much of this stuff, and it's just really hard to what's the word, sparse through it, whatever it is, kind of go through it, sift through it, and figure out what's real and what's not real. But um there were some tariffs implemented. I haven't really seen the effects. Maybe there's a delay, maybe I don't know. uh, but for the one thing I have seen is a lot of the stuff has just been selling out. It's hard to come by. There was actually a flashlight that I got that I was going to, that I actually, it was in that last video I did with the fanny packs, and that sold out. So there's a lot of products that are just getting hard to come by. People are buying stuff quicker because they're anticipating the prices going up. So you're seeing kind of that, it just being hard to come by stuff because it's selling out really quick. And some of the other things are going up in price a little bit. But I think, like I said, the one thing that really gets my attention more than anything is just the conflicts that heat up, because what's going to happen is you're probably going to see, obviously, the spike in oil prices, gasoline prices, and then the usual things that go because of war, which are like war related things, like ammunition and firearm parts and gas masks, things like that, filters. I remember they start talking, especially about nuclear war and stuff. It's like, gas masks. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was probably like 5 years ago or so, or 4 years ago. A lot of talk about a nuclear attack, and you could not find gas masks or filters anywhere. So I just got a new mask here from Mira Safety, and this is the CM 8mm gas mask. So I just cracked the box open, but I haven't even taken the mask out of the case here. So I'll do that real quick. A lot of these companies are just like reaching out to me lately, and in all honesty, I turn down like 90% of the companies that ask me to review stuff. I really don't take on stuff that I just, one, I think is junk, or two, I think, it's just not my venue. I try to stay away from stuff, but clearly the gas mask is always going to be something that is in my wheelhouse. That's why it's like at the top of my logo. So anytime Mira reaches out to me and wants to throw me a free gas mask, I'm going to take them up on it. But yeah, this thing's cool because you can shoot a rifle with this thing on. So you can still basically bring your rifle up and sight down your rifle. It's not going to get in the way. So you can keep your, if you're a right-handed shooter, you can keep your filter on this side. And they kind of designed this mask in a way so that you can still draw down on your target with this mask. So that's how these masks are designed. But I don't think I left links in the description for this. It's been a while since I've plugged any Mira products. They sent me out, like when I first started my YouTube channel, I think they were the first company, or at least the first major company, to reach out to me and ask me if I wanted to review something. And I remember when they reached out to me, they were like, we're going to send you a gas mask. And I thought like that. I was like, I made it into the YouTube Prepper channel Worlds. So very cool, but they're good company. They're a good company. Check them out. They actually got some really cool T-shirts. They were supposed to send me a T-shirt. I think they forgot, but they got cool stuff over there. So lots of gas masks, and they even sent me. Oh, what is it? Two new filters. So these are the NBC 77 filters. So really good filters. And the thing is too, people don't realize you can use these masks to protect yourself from smoke ventilation. So if you're in an area that is prone to wildfires and you're concerned that you might end up in a situation where you have to evacuate and the air is just thick with smoke to the point, you can't breathe, these will actually be relatively effective and will protect you from smoke inhalation. Not permanently. It's not going to be like fresh oxygen like a fireman wears, but it'll protect you for a certain amount of time. I'm not sure what the time is, but definitely having something like this during a fire, if there's a lot of smoke in the air, it's going to be, better than having nothing, that's for sure. So another reason to because a lot of people just think, what would I need a gas mask for? They just think of like nuclear fallout, but a lot of reasons to have one. You might be in an inner city where there's riots going off, and people got to put masks on to, protect themselves from gas, mustard gas, whatever they're spraying all the protests. We actually have protests going on right now in Coeur d'Alene. My wife just texted me and said there's like huge protests going on in the street right now, but she couldn't really tell what the message was. So there was like kind of some like anti-Trump stuff, but it was like, I don't know, like Ukrainian flags, and it didn't really seem like leftists, but it kind of did. I don't know. This is kind of a weird place here in Coeur d'Alene. You kind of have some interesting takes here and there. So I always say, well, was it old men protesting or old women? If it's old women, it's probably a liberal protest. If it's old men, it's probably a right-wing protest. I know that's a very sexist statement to make, but I'm generalizing. I'm missing out on this chat. Seems like you're all conversing with each other. Iodine was really hard to come by. It was. Yeah, and the thing with those isotat tablets is they don't last very long. They only have like barely a 1 year shelf life. But I don't know. They might maybe that's just what it says on the thing, because they seem to be packaged really well. When I get those what are they called, like isotat, it's not iodine. It is, but it's what is it? Isotat something, some type of iodine. Yeah. But yeah, those are hard to come by, but the filters were hard to come by, and they're expensive. Then the price gouging starts. So yeah, you want to get that stuff. If there's any, holes in your preps, take care of that stuff now. These survival kits here, these micro survival kits, remember I did a video on these, whatever, a month ago. These are on my Etsy store, so if you want to check these out, I'm selling them. I thought I was going to give them away, but I don't know. I might hang on to like one, but I don't need a survival kit, that's for sure. I'm at the point I was telling my wife, I'm like, I could have a huge garage sale at this point. It would be like the ultimate survival product garage sale you'd ever seen, because I have so much stuff I need to liquidate, because a lot of this stuff I just buy to make videos, and I'm not using it. I'm just doing it for the video. And then I get companies sending me stuff. Like, I'll show you this. I just got sent this, and I don't even know how to, because I just did a video, but I just got this. This is an operator's pack from Eberly stock. And I just packed it full of stuff. So I took out all of the gear in my Marting Top bag and put it in here just to do a video on it. But to be honest, this thing is like overkill for me. This is like for military. You know, this is for guys that are like going whatever. They're going to war. And this pack is really designed for war. And it exceeds my my needs. So I'll probably be selling this. I mean, after I finish making the video, I don't know. I mean, it's an awesome pack. Obviously, I want to hang on to it, but I just can't really justify this. But it has the rifle scabbard. So I know this is a live stream, so I can't show you the full firearm here, but you could actually put like a full sniper rifle inside of this backpack. It's like the area for the rifle is like huge. Like it goes up. I didn't measure it, but I can basically, there's like a thing that pops out and covers would be the stock of your rifle, because you put it in barrel first, and then there's a thing that pops out on the bottom there where your barrel goes. So, but this pack is just crazy. It's just crazy big. It probably took me a half an hour just to kind of find every little nook and cranny of this pack. And I'll give you one example if I can. Oh yeah, here we go. So the top lid on this pack, here, I'm going to take it off real quick, because everything also just unhooks. So this is like the hood of the pack. Okay. And it's just a huge pack. Like I thought my other pack, that Marting Top pack, which was like what was it? Like a 75-liter bag. I mean, huge. I thought that thing was big. This thing fits like, probably 30% more stuff. So crazy. But so here's the top part of this pack, and this thing, it comes off, and you can there's these straps here, and you can actually connect one of those chest strap rigs and then hook this and wear this like a chest strap or a chest pack. Or there's these other straps, and you can wear it kind of like a fanny pack, wear it on your back like so, and the inside opens up, and you have this big compartment here where you can put a ton of stuff. Right now, I got a 32-ounce water bottle, some gloves, a knife, little beanie in here. So basically just some stuff that I want to have immediate access to when I'm hiking. And then there's another little pocket right here, and a little zipper right here. And it's just this tiny pouch, I guess, and then it's got like a little clip, like a little carabiner. I guess that's for car keys. I can't think of what else you could put in there. I mean, it's almost too small for even a pair of sunglasses. You could fit some readers in there, but that's about it. And then you'd think that would be it for this pack, but it's not. And then there's another little pouch right there you can zip open, and the whole inside of this thing is lined with fleece. So I don't know. I was almost thinking like if there was like another zipper right here, I was thinking, oh, okay, so if you're wearing it on, on your stomach or something, on your chest, and it's cold, you could put your hands in here and it would keep them warm. But that's not what this is for. I think this is for like goggles or something. Because I don't know why it's like all fleece lined, but really soft in there. So whatever this pouch is for, it's meant to kind of protect something so it doesn't get scratched. But just kind of showing you those details, because it's like that's the level of detail that Everly Stock goes to with their packs. So I gotta have to actually email them and have them send me like a manual or something for this pack, because there's so many different moving parts to it. I'm not even sure how I would even use this. I mean, it's a lot. There are so many different compartments to this pack. So, anyways, I'll have a video on this backpack coming out soon. But it seems like I just did a bug out bag video, so I'm gonna try to spread those out, not just completely flood you guys with bug out bag videos. See what we got here. 120-liter pack. Yeah, I mean, this pack alone, that's the other thing with the Everly Stock packs. I mean, I guess it just comes with the territory that, because they're built so durable. I mean, the material on here, it's like a really high level of Cordura. It's in the thousands. It's like whatever they call it, like 1050, D, some word like D Cordura. And I have another pack that I thought, I mean, it's pretty durable and it's only like 900. So anyways, really thick material, a lot of different pouches and compartments. So, and then it has a steel frame. That's the other thing about this pack. It has an actual steel frame, like 1/2-inch metal steel tubing welded, like the old school Alice packs. Has that frame in here, which is crazy. I guess they just made it, because you're carrying a big rifle, so you're going to need a really heavy duty steel frame. But this pack empty probably weighs 10 pounds, probably 10 pounds or more. I haven't weighed it like empty, but fully loaded, especially with a rifle, because this thing's designed, basically the thing is designed to hold a rifle and then mag. So it's all your survival stuff, so you got food, water, you have your shelter, your mess kit, you have your fire kits, all that stuff. And then you have ammo. It just gets crazy heavy. So I think I haven't weighed this pack, but I'm assuming, gosh, with the rifle and the mags, 60 pounds. So a 60-pound pack, in all honesty, you guys, like, I'm almost 50 years old. I'm gonna be, realistically, I could probably do maybe 3 miles in this pack, and then I would be out. My knees would just be shot. And that's like no hills, like 3 miles, soft, flat land. 3 miles. I'd maybe do 5 miles if I was being shot at. But at some point, I think I'd just throw in the towel. So I am happy to say that 60 pounds is definitely way more than a quarter of my body weight. So, let's see what we got here. Helmut said hi. What's up, Helmut? I used to have a boss named Helmut. I worked for Volvo Penta when I was a kid. And I painted boat bottoms. I painted the bottoms of fishing boats. They come in from the harbor. These guys would come in from fishing for months. And it was like this, I think I was like 17 when I was doing that job, but they bring in these boats and I have to go in and scrape off all the barnacles and everything and power wash them off. And then I have to get into this like full hazmat suit, like respirator, like full suit, and sand these boat bottoms because the paint was so toxic. It was this anti-fouling paint, which is like a metal-based, like copper-based paint, super toxic. Like if you get it on your skin, it just burns right through your skin. I was sanding this crap. I'll probably end up dying from that job, so it'll catch up to me someday. It was so bad. And then once I got it all off, then I have to mask it all off, tape like a nice, perfect water, line on it, and then paint that boat. But the craziest part of that job was these boats. I'm sitting under a commercial size fishing boat. I don't know, 15-ton fishing boat, and these things were just held up with like egg crates, like just woodly, like little crappy boxes, like wooden boxes, and these stupid old rickety old jack stands. And I mean, I was like looking at this thing, like, how is this thing balanced? I mean, one little like movement and this boat's like falling down and crushing me. Insane job. But Helmut, he is crazy. Prepper spray gel type. Knife in your life. Knife in your life. Hey man, what's up, buddy? Helmut says thank you for the chat canal on Instagram. My memory's bad. I don't know what that is. Hi there. Okay, you're talking to so-and-so. You have prepper spray gel type? I don't know what that is. Pepper spray gel type. Oh, I don't think so. I just have regular pepper spray and some whatchamacallit, OC spray. So I'm just scrolling through the chats here, guys. I'm trying to find a question, seeing if I missed anything. A lot of it's just talking. Yep. Yeah. Jace Medical's kind of stepped up their game. They carry the ivermectin and a lot of the anti-parasitical drugs that are popular now. So, I have been actually doing parasite cleanses like once every 3 months, just because we have chickens. There's a lot of livestock here, so you actually kind of have to do parasite cleanses. And yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with that, you do your own research on it and see what you think. But I find them to be beneficial. What is your protocol for gasoline conservation? I don't know. I kind of just went on a rant about e-bikes and how they were kind of a good alternative to gasoline, a transportation during like a gasoline shortage or saving money. If you had land and house, what is your next step? It depends on whatever's on your, because I right now I have a house on land, but we're pretty, like, where we are, like, it's pretty set back. We're sort of a good ways from town. We're about 20 minutes outside of town, but the area is getting crowded like quick. I mean, they've been making it's just growing here so fast, and they don't even tell you. That's the other thing that's just so irritating. I got this guy that lives up the street, and I don't even care if he's watching. I know a lot of my neighbors know that I have this channel, and I'm sure that whatever they say what they want to say, they're all cool. I got most of my neighbors are really good good people, and things, SHTF happened, like everybody could pretty much self-maintain for the most part. So I'm not worried from that standpoint, but there's just, definitely some questionable characters, especially like some of the new people that I am just not thrilled to know that they're on this street. They're just kind of the treasonous type, if you know what I mean. Uh, so and yeah, so there's just like a lot of money coming in. So we end up like, that's probably the worst part, is knowing that we have people that bought, like, there's bug out land here, so you have like these rich, like, just, you know elite type people that they only come up here like sometimes in the summertime to use their cabin way up in the mountains, like their $3 million bug out cabin up in the mountains. And they'll play a little bit. Like during COVID, they were all here. I didn't had no idea there were so many rich people in my area until COVID took place. And it was like, oh wow, all these elitists started like coming flying into their little bug out mansions all up in the mountains. So it's totally bizarre. All of a sudden, you just start seeing white and black Range Rovers driving up and down your street out of the blue. Oh, my wife. Okay, we're getting ready to go to dinner. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this up because the uh, the big the big church obligation is about to begin. So wish me luck, you guys. This is gonna be a long night. It's going till 11:30. I'm gonna be in church. I'll explain it later. It's all good stuff. Um, but it's almost like too complicated to even get into. But a lot of people getting confirmed, things like that. No baptism, but pretty cool stuff. Oh, you just got here. Well, you can watch the rerun, but yeah, too bad. There were some products that I didn't even get to showing you guys, but for those of you can go support the channel and buy some sawtooth fire tinder at my Etsy store and some of these small game survival snares. So I got a lot of these, and I'm actually going to be making some changes to the snares here pretty soon. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be changing some. I'm not changing. I shouldn't say changing. I'm going to be introducing some new snares that are a little bit more specialty for small game. So I'll let you guys know when those come out. But yeah, there was just some other products. I got these straw filters. I found a value pack of these on Amazon. So it was something that I bought a lot of this stuff when I was putting those survival kits together, and realized they weren't going to fit in the kits, packs that I bought. So I ended up with all this stuff that I could use to fit into the survival kits because it was just too big. But I did want to at least tell you guys about the deals, because I found these life tents. These are like Mylar tent slash sleeping bags. And I found these like value packs, like crazy deals where you can get like 10 of these for, under $20. And like these little first aid kits here, I found a little like on Amazon. I found a really good deal on these. I got these for like like a little over $1 a piece. We'll see if they're still that much, but that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize you can do this. So go to Amazon, and whatever product you're looking for, just say bulk, so water filters bulk, and you'll find stuff like this. You get like a way better deal. So, for those of you, maybe you want to buy water filters for everybody in your family, do that, because you'll save a lot of money. And if you just put water filter in the search, you're just going to get a single water filter price. Okay. And then, if I want to buy water filters for everybody, don't just go water filter and then push quantity 6. You'll end up paying way too much money. So let's say you want to buy 5, 6 of these things, say water filter bulk, and you'll get the bulk price. there's your survival product tip for the day. Same thing, I got a bunch of these candles here too for a crazy deal. So got these survival candles right here. So these are really cool. I'll probably be listing these on my Etsy store. I don't know. I like buying this stuff because I'll sell them when my daughter and I do our little father-daughter market shows. Our little market shows. Every once in a while, you guys, I'll post that I'll be selling stuff from my store locally. So a lot of this stuff is pretty much for that. But I think that's it, you guys. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining everybody that came to the live stream. I appreciate it. And hopefully I'll have a new video coming out. The weather is just kind of weather pending, but hopefully I'll have a new video ready to go by Friday. So keep an eye out for that. But, hey, thanks for everybody who joined into the chat today. And I'll try to do these more often. But either way, until the next time, you guys, stay prepared.